The Brave Warrior and the Shaking Fortress. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there was a brave warrior named Jafar. He was so strong and courageous that he decided to take on an entire fortress all by himself. That fortress was guarded by a huge army, with walls tall and gates strong. But Jafar wasn't afraid. With his trusty horse and sword, he charged toward the fortress with all his might. Jafar's attack was so powerful, it felt like the ground was shaking under the hoofs of his horse. The people inside the fortress were so scared, they quickly slammed the big gates shut, afraid to come out. No one wanted to face him in battle. Inside the fortress, the king sat nervously on his throne. He didn't know what to do. So he called his wise, trusted advisor and asked, "What should we do? This man is all alone, but everyone is too scared to fight him." The advisor thought for a moment, then gave the king some surprising advice. "Your Majesty," he said, "don't make any plans to fight him. Take your sword and a shroud and go to him. Surrender before this brave man." The king was confused. "But he's just one man. How can you ask me to surrender?" The advisor nodded and pointed toward Jafar outside the gates. "Don't be fooled by how few he is. Look at the fortress. It's trembling like it's afraid of him. Look at the soldiers. They are as silent and still as sheep, too scared to fight. This man may be alone, but the heart in his chest is unlike any other." The king listened carefully as the advisor continued. "Jafar has the heart of a true warrior, a heart so strong it feels like he has an entire army fighting with him. He charges forward with his sword, bravely challenging everyone without a hint of fear. It's like all the armies of the East and West are with him. Anyone who tries to fight him ends up lying beneath his horse's hooves." The advisor then looked at the king and said, "Numbers don't matter here. Your soldiers won't be able to stop him because Jafar's heart is filled with courage and faith, a gift from Allah. His strength comes from his deep connection with God, and that's something we cannot defeat." The king understood. He knew that no amount of soldiers could match the bravery and faith of Jafar. So, instead of fighting, the king and his soldiers laid down their weapons and opened the gates of the fortress. They knew that Jafar's courage and faith had already won the battle. And so, Jafar stood tall, not because of the size of his army, but because of the strength of his heart and his unshakable faith in Allah.